take a moment to show one chopping technique. If you look at the bottom of this, you'll see there's still a bunch of whole eggs. And the one technique that works quite well is keeping the bowl and just taking the knife, just slicing upwards like this. You can use that for guacamole or for egg salad or anything like that. It requires cutting something that's fairly soft, but cutting it and mushing it in a way that you get something that's palatable at the end without using a blender or any other techniques. Because again, I like to cook with the lowest common denominator, so I don't get surprised if I'm trying to cook something later. And you can take eventually you start going pretty fast at this, and it takes only about 30 seconds to do 6 or 8 eggs worth here, all the way through. So now that I have something that sort of resembles eggs mashed up, I just sort of mix that around, convince myself that there aren't any massive chunks in it. And then it's time to add the mayonnaise. Which is the funnest part of all. Okay, so very important. You want to buy mayonnaise the cheapest possible way, which for me was this giant, massive tub, 64 fluid ounces. And the good thing about mayonnaise apparently is that it keeps forever. I've had this one since at least when I last moved, which anybody who knows me knows is quite a while. You can take a look at it. Pretty scary in there, but it's alright. Oh, and I kept an example of one egg because I wanted to show the key property that you want to look for in your hard-boiled eggs, which is flakiness. You want that to be ultimately perfectly flaky all the way through. If there's any mush there, then you messed up hard-boiling. You didn't hard-boil long enough or too long if it's overly done. But usually if it's mushy, it's because you didn't hard-boil them hot enough for long enough. So I'll just kind of dump that in there. And so the one thing that's very easy to do and will cause your mayonnaise to go bad or become unusable is to use the same utensil to stir that you're using to dispense the mayonnaise. So what I do is I use 2. I've learned this technique over time. So just grab as much as you can. You can't really go wrong here because you'll always come back for more. Take some mayonnaise on a spoon that you'll only touch mayonnaise with and just dump it right in. The other good advantage of this lunch is that it's cheap as hell. Eggs are, 18-pack eggs cost $2 or $3. This giant tub of mayonnaise costs $7 and lasts you 6 years. So, okay, now that you've really gotten the point that I'm serious about adding lots of mayonnaise, I will switch over to the fork. Take a second to lick my fingers. I've previously tested this mayonnaise to make sure it was still good by tasting it. But one of the weird things about kitchen science that you learn is that mayonnaise never goes bad. Maybe because, if you believe my lady acquaintance Christy, it was never good in the first place. So to stir, and this is some leg camera action here. If only I turned it the other way, we could have a different kind of video show. And just kind of stir it up. And it's starting to look a lot more like salad sandwich. I see that we almost already need more mayo. This might be enough. When you get to the bottom, you might uncover eggs that don't have any. We can mix this in. At this point, we're pretty much done. What I'll do off camera is break up these super big chunks of eggs just with the fork here. Do a little mushing. And take what remains of the mayonnaise. Maybe what you saw me put in earlier, probably about 1/4 more of that quantity. So one more kind of massive dollop with the spoon should be good. And then we're done. I'll make the sandwich.